Hello, we are a group of 3 girls in CDU which come from different countries. This is our EST303 digital project of autism by linking the real and the ideal world. I hope you will enjoy it.
There are approximately 164,000 Australians who has had autism in 2015, which means about 1 in 60 individuals and about 83,700 children with ASD. Boys are at more risk to have autism than girls. Research has found that the genetics of autism are very complex, and some including multiple genes, which is combined in environmental and psychological factors. However, no one has yet proven one environmental factor is a cause of autism directly. When it comes to autism spectrum disorder, there are 3 types of ASD. Type 1 of the autism spectrum disorder is social interaction challenges.
Type 2, cognitive dysfunction, which means insensitivity or oversensitivity of 5 senses.
The type 3 of the autism spectrum disorder is demonstrating repetitive patterns of behavior.
There are 3 types of ASD with different autisms. Type 1, severe autism, which also called Cannon's autism. Type 2, high function autism, which known as Asperger's autism. Type 3, pervasive development disorder, which called atypical autism. This is the less studied type of autism. Despite the differentiation of different types, each ASD individual has different symptoms and difficulties as our brains are all different.
We have a very short story. During story time, Charlie was so upset that another child took the same book that he wanted. So the way he handled the situation was first by screaming, not using any words at all, just screaming very loudly, then by pointing at the other child saying, "Book, book, book." After I approached Charlie, he ran away near to the door and started banging his forehead into the door repeatedly.
So, how does our brain work? Let's look inside the brain of someone learning. Technically, our brain connection between different areas can change.
The different regions in our brain are called neurons. Some neural partners split apart while others connect. When we receive new information, our brain will create a new pathway between 2 nerve cells, which is called the synapse. It helps connect new knowledge into the brain, while others weaken at the same time, but that is acceptable. As we are learning and practicing, our brain will strengthen the pathways. A measure of this swapping is known as flexibility. Research from Sanders 2017 stated that people that learn best have great flexible rewire connections in their brain, while autistic brains is not able to communicate within different regions effectively.
Piaget's stage theory describes the cognitive development of children. There are 4 stages, which are sensory motor stage, pre-operational stage, concrete operational stage, and formal operational stage.
Charlie from the short story is in pre-operational stage, and he has a behavioral and cognitive issue. He cannot deal with the noise in the classroom, and studies states that general children in pre-operational stage can engage in symbolic play with peers, while autistic children are better at functional play by themselves. The fundamental part of symbolic play requires social interaction with peers and even caregivers that help children enhance their cognitive, social, and language development via social learning process of play. Also, kids learn through pretend play but still struggle with logic and taking the point of view of other people. The standards was formulated by the Commonwealth Attorney General under the Commonwealth Disability Discrimination Act 1992. Although the review document of the standards showed that there was a good progress for raising awareness of the standards with educators since 2010. However, ASD children are still facing the barriers in schooling with their conditions. This graph shows the data of the 5 common schooling difficulties with children that has autism. The 5 most common schooling difficulties of children with autism in 2015 are fitting in socially, which shows 63%, learning difficulties, which is 62%, communication difficulties, 52%, intellectual difficulties, which is 27%, difficulty sitting, 18%. The concerns about students with disabilities or special needs have gradually improved over time. Initially, supplemental support was only available to students with cognitive disabilities, but recently the model of inclusive education has been expanded to now provide services to those with emotional, social, and physical needs. Although the exact percentage of students with special needs is unknown, some studies have predicted that 10 to 15% of students suffer from one or more learning difficulty. That, on average, a teacher deals with 4 to 6 students with special needs daily. Understanding inclusion both theoretically and practically is one of the key elements for inclusive education to succeed. A National Disability Insurance Scheme, the NDIS, it supports children to achieve optimum learning outcomes and positive learning environments as the other children in the mainstream classes. The scheme that the government provides for the autistic children also support children who has disabilities including ASD. 22 billion of the funding from the scheme goes to the children who needs help. In general, government funding can be used for a multiple range of early intervention services and educational settings.
The training program helped teachers push their understanding of ASD students. Moreover, classrooms should be managed in a way to assist all children are enjoying the lesson, including special needs students. Programs also help building up their confidence to communicate with ASD students and their families. The funding that is provided from the government to financially support the schools that advance the facilities and to make fair adjustment into fulfilling students' additional needs. All the students are valued and supported to join different learning practice. Plenty of research state that technological essentials are effective to empower ASD children's developmental pathway. In particular, children who has language developmental difficulties. For example, iPad and animation videos are able to help children's brains development. Inclusive equipment may support students who have physical disabilities or additional learning needs to participate and succeed in activity and subjects. Modified equipment such as paint brushes to suit a student's specific needs and support them to engage in activities that will increase opportunities for children to participate in activities in class.
Now let's go have a look at our micro ideal world. To administer inclusive in the most effective way, students with disabilities need to be at least part of an everyday regular program with general education students, providing all students with equipment and technical expertise. Secondly, educators should be supporting students with a positive and can-do attitude, then effectively set clear expectations and purposes after observations and daily interactions with children. Imitation is a core human skill that involves and development of social interactions and practices knowledge. It is important that educators investigate and differentiate learning through the understanding of a child's learning frequency and match an ASD student's actions and facial expression. Thank you for watching our digital project of autism. This is done by Maddie, Chloe, and Jade.